What up, what up? Welcome to Life with Flo. So today's my first episode and I wanted to talk about a conference that I went to out in LA. The conference was hosted by Tony Robbins, an amazing human being. I'm not sure if you know who he is. If you don't, then look him up. He's a philanthropist, multimillionaire, owns over 31 companies, I believe, been mentors to presidents, billionaires, CEOs, CFOs, and he basically has access to the most brilliant people in the world. So this guy is pretty knowledgeable, knows his stuff, and I had an amazing weekend that I want to share. So I'm just going to give you 5 things that stood out to me the most, because it was so much information. I think this would probably end up being like a 5-hour video if I actually gave you all the gems I learned. But I'm going to horn in on 5 babies that was really life-changing for me, so hope you enjoy. So number one tip note from the conference is on the emotion fear. So fear is a beast, okay? So this emotion is why most people will be held back from an amazing life. Fear essentially holds you back from anything, any big step. Your mind is billions years old, so it's always going to try to protect you. So your mind is always going to go on to saying, hey, don't do this change is a little bit scary, maybe let's think this through. And sometimes once you get in that kind of train of thought, you're most likely not going to get yourself out of it in that period of time. Maybe later on you will be, but then you lost some time. So fear is, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you absolutely hate it, I'm talking about not only disliking it, you don't like waking up early, like you hate this fucking job and you won't leave, it's most likely fear. Or for example, if you're in a friendship or relationship that is not working, no longer healthy for you, and you continue in, it's fear. Fear that maybe you won't find someone better, fear that maybe you're not pretty enough, or fear that you're just not worthy, like you're not gonna find someone to see your worth, so you stay in it. So fear makes us settle for less than we deserve, essentially. So after kind of explaining all that to us, he correlated an experience, or kind of connected an experience. So he told us that day that we were going to walk on fire. So this is day 1. Talking about fear, I'm pumped up. I'm like, yeah, this thing's not going to limit me. It's all in my mind. It's not real. So once I get out of this conference, it's going to kill it. And then this man tells us we're going to walk on fire. First, I'm like, okay, this is not real. You know, this man's going to, like, we're 9,000 people in here. We're not going to walk on fire. And little do you know, we walk on fire. So that experience was kind of just like a fresh air for me, like a breath of fresh air, because after getting all that information and I was pumped up, I remember standing in front of the fire just being absolutely afraid. I'm like, I am so afraid of doing this. What about if I burn? What about if I fall on my face? What about if I end up in the hospital? I'm just thinking all these things that are not true, because what's true is I was just standing there, right? So my thoughts going into like the worst things that could potentially happen. And then I kind of horned in on what he said, and I was like, no, Leanne, like, you can do this. Just step forward. You are powerful. You are limitless. You're going to be fine. Like, why are you thinking the worst thing that could happen? And I remember taking my first step, and once I got at it and I broke that pattern, that train of thought, then it was life-changing. I walked past that fire and I killed it. I remember getting to the finish line and being extremely excited. So what I would say is, for fear, number 1 thing is, it's not real. It's all up here, which means you can control. 2, it holds you back. So don't let it hold you back anymore. Control it. Don't let it control you. And 3, final, but absolutely probably the most important, is get out of your head. Once it starts coming on, break the pattern and just go. Just make the first move. The most, or I guess the worst that could happen, is you learn something new. You grow. So don't ever let fear hold you back, okay? Alright, so gem number 2. Gem number 2 is physiology. Isn't that interesting? So I go to this conference thinking this guy is going to completely rock my mind, give me new content for growth, kind of psychological growth. And this man absolutely transformed my life. Kind of explains how not only is it important to understand your thoughts, be one with it, and kind of be able to move forward with fear, but also your physiology. So how I'm standing right now versus how I would stand if I wasn't feeling confident. So we did a couple of exercises. The first one was we had to present to our partner. I went alone to the conference, so I had to turn to some random guy and present an idea to him, but not feeling very confident in myself and in my skills. And then we did part 2 was actually being able to present the same product, but now being passionate and confident about it. So what I learned from that exercise was, 1, I tend to lean on my left leg when I'm not feeling confident. Obviously my shoulders go down. I have low volume in my tone of voice, and I don't make eye contact, so I kept staring to the side a lot. Okay, and then completely differently when I felt confident. When I felt confident, I used a lot of my hands like I am now. I stood up tall. My voice, you could hear a great amount of volume in my voice, and I made eye contact. I looked away certain times, but my eye contact was amazing. So for me, I think what was important that Tony was trying to explain to us is, even though you might be feeling nervous and you're falling into that state of closed in, hands together, leaning on one leg, snap out of it, because you have control too. So now I remember just recently I had a meeting that I went to, and I felt extremely uncomfortable just because there was so many brilliant people in the room, and I started to doubt myself a little bit. And I felt it coming on, like leaning to one side, hands closing in, and then I immediately snapped out of it. I said, no, Leanne, you're gonna stand on 2 feet, you're gonna level out. So I remember leveling out, putting my chest up, looking at the person, and then giving my introduction with confidence. And I think what's important for you to remember about that is, I guess the number one thing from this little spiel I just gave is, just like the body follows the mind follows the body. So when you're in a situation, you need to understand, I guess, do this exercise at home and see what the differences are for you. So it might be similar to mine. Most of the time the volume does change, posture of course, and being able to, when you need it, snap it on and bring the physiology that you know you're going to deliver the most. And that could be just automatically putting your chest up, leveling out your feet, and be able to project with confidence. I think that was huge. Like, it's absolutely life transforming to know that I can walk in a room and kind of be a little nervous, have that feeling inside of me, my stomach turning, but changing my body in a way that after 3, 2, maybe 5 minutes, my mind will follow. And I could kind of just embody that confidence, and the doubt will be out the door. Number three. So number 3 is energy. Okay, so our whole lives we're taught that eventually your energy goes away. So you could, if you work all day, by the time you get home, the energy goes. But the conference taught me that is not real. So what I learned about energy is you have it in here. So that thing that you that excitement that you feel, or when you're passionate about something, that's something that you feel at your core, that is there at any point in time that you need it. So it's an important thing to know, because, for example, I give another experience. So I had an interview for a board that I was trying to run for at like 6 o'clock. I had been working all day, and by the time I got home it was 5:30, and I was like, I just can't do this. Like, I'm not gonna be able to do an interview at 6:30. I'm not gonna excel, because of my old mindset that energy, you basically, you can use up your energy, and then by a certain amount of time then you don't have it anymore, which is absolutely bullshit, and it's not real. So from that experience, 5:30, I get home and I was able to snap myself out of it. So understand that the energy that you have in your core, you can access it at any time. So when you don't feel like doing something and you're in your head, you can snap out of it. That's the power you have. So make sure you use it. So for that 5:30 incident, I snapped out of it. I remember getting up, kind of jumping up and down, and I'm like, you have this energy in you. It's in you. You have to be passionate. You got to let it out. You're going to kill this interview. You got to do this. And it was a lot about focusing on my why. Why am I doing this interview? Because I want to help my family. I want to be able to give them this freedom that they don't currently have. So that fueled all the passion, and I felt the energy. So literally, this was probably 15 minutes later of doing this, like a mental check. Like, yes, you do have energy. Access it and kill it. Once I was able to access it, I think I bodied that interview. So that energy that you have is at your core. It never goes away, and energy is everywhere. So make sure you use that power. You do not run out of energy. That thing is in here, all right? So make sure you use it. So this is gem number 4. So 4 is all about rapport. So rapport is basically being able to go in a room, kind of connecting with an individual in a way that the communication flows and it's back and forth. You guys are both giggling. You're basically in sync. So as human beings, we automatically we do this when we go in a room. But most of the time we do it with someone that we like. So someone that either looks like us, we feel somehow we can connect easily with, and it could be much harder if you have a belief that maybe you're not able to connect with this person. So you go try to build some type of rapport and it doesn't go as well. So funny, going back into physiology, so what Tony taught us, which was super interesting, and I don't have an actual example of it in my life because I haven't been able to practice it yet, but I surely will, so I'll give you guys an update on that. So it's being able to walk in a room, a networking event, and consciously becoming in sync with that person. So basically you become in sync once you guys are already connected, but you have the power to do this, to become in sync consciously, and then the person learns to like you more subconsciously without even knowing. So what's interesting about that, so the things that you could change, for example, is volume. So if you walk in a room, you're trying to build rapport with someone that has low volume, then you essentially want to keep that low volume. So if someone says, hey, how you doing? My name is Danielle. You kind of want to repeat that back. Hey, my name's Leanne. How are you doing, Danielle? Or if you meet someone like me, a little passionate, a little bit loud, I'm going to say, hey, how you doing? My name's Leanne. Very nice meeting you. And then you want to say, hey, I'm Danielle. Nice meeting you as well, Leanne. How are you doing? So kind of building. So volume is one. Interesting enough, body language is also one. So if someone does this a lot, or if you notice they cross their hands, you kind of just have to mirror them. And over time, subconsciously, they start saying like, this person actually is pretty cool. And it's all by body language. So building rapport is beyond language. Like they say, only 7% of your words actually matter in a communication. So use your body language. Be able to use this thing, you know? All right, so number 5. So number 5, last but certainly not least, probably the most important, kind of tying into fear, is limiting beliefs. So basically, if you don't know what limiting belief is, it is essentially simply just a belief that limits you. So any belief that you have about the world, about the environment, where you was raised, the people you're around, about yourself, that limits you and holds you back. So this world is limitless, man. I don't want to be, I don't want to make this YouTube channel just like kind of pushing you, but I really want to give you content. But I'm going to end it by saying you are limitless. You are extremely powerful, and we all are. Every human being is uniquely made for a reason. And any belief that you have that limits you brings you away from that purpose. So if you think you're too young, I'm here to say that's bullshit. You could do anything you want at any age. Age is a society's construct, okay? 2, if you think that you was born in an environment that doesn't nurture you, that you're not financially at a place that you could maybe start a business, again, that is bullshit. That is another limiting belief that you have. Or let's say something as simple as, I'm an immigrant and I don't have the resources. I don't know the right people. I don't know the language. I'm just not going to succeed. Again, that is a limiting belief. That is bullshit. You have created that in your head and you actually live it. That is not true. You could do absolutely anything you put your mind to. So again, going back to an immigrant, if you're an immigrant and you don't speak the language, and you just got to learn it. All right? So that's not a limit. That's a limit you're putting on yourself. Or if you're not around the right people, find the right people. If you have people around you that are negative and not contributing to moving you forward, get rid of them. You have that choice. You have that power. So make sure to utilize it. And I guess I will leave on the point today. I guess the most important thing from every other content is sit down with yourself and be honest. What are the things that you believe about yourself, your environment, or the world that limits you? Write them down and repeat them to yourself. And listen to how silly they sound. They're not real. And after you repeat it to yourself, make sure you say bullshit. You allow yourself to subconsciously program that is bullshit and it is not real. And excuse my language, I'm sorry if I guess I'm being vulgar, but I'm just, limiting beliefs is just like fear holds you back. Don't allow it to, because you are absolutely amazing and you have all the power within here. So make sure you horn on this baby, follow it, and make sure you lead. And that is the end. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you watched to the end. I will try my best to put as much content as I can out there, so I should be up next week. Something new, maybe a book or maybe a podcast episode that I'm listening to, or maybe just something I'm being challenged with and I'm growing on for the week, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love. LO signing out.